Yeah.
Okay, let's just start.
All right.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Hi, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of The Macks. It is me, Maggie Davis, joined as always with Jack Pilgrim and Zack Gagan. We've got an awesome show lined up today. We're going casual. I've got a sweatshirt on. Zack is still repping the brand, as always, with the KSR polo. Jack is still trying to prove to us that he does laundry. I'm still not sure we're buying that.
3 different shirts in 3 different weeks, baby. We're good.
It's crazy. It's a weekly show, and somehow he's worn 3 different shirts now over the past 8 weeks.
Somehow I manage.
But we won't go too hard on him today because I think he's had a rough day. He's got a lot of news he wants to talk about. He's fired up. He's ready to talk. He's got some good content for all of our favorite fans and listeners. So, Jack, I'm not even going to spoil it. I'm just going to give it to you right now. The floor is yours, my man.
Well, I appreciate the introduction. It was well needed. It kind of calmed me down a little bit because I was, as we were recording beforehand and kind of getting geared up, you could tell that, I got a little fire underneath me today. There's a little, some little baggage leading into this show that I think your nice introduction helped calm me down a little bit. So I'll ease into it, but I think you guys are going to kind of see a new side of me today. I hope. I think it's going to be energetic. It's going to be enthusiastic. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Is that a new side?
It's a new side to Jack, and this side is fueled by bourbon.
Here I am. For those watching,
that's his 5th one, by the way.
No, it is not.
It's been a long day.
That's for like 50 minutes from now. I'll be on my 5th one by then. Just kidding. That would be very difficult to make happen. Anyway, so this afternoon, news breaks that Kentucky is reportedly. The hiring is not official, but it seems like we're in the home stretch of Kentucky bringing on none other than Jay Lucas, who is a familiar name in the Kentucky sports radio world. I believe back in 2007 was I actually just looked it up. I think KSR wrote 327 posts about Jay Lucas in his time as a former McDonald's All-American. It was during the Billy Gillispie days when they were looking for any and all recruiting momentum on the planet. They were going after Patrick Patterson and Jay Lucas. They secured a commitment on one of them. Go for it.
I have a question. Then I'll let you keep rolling. So 2007, obviously none of us wrote for KSR at that point. Were you all following KSR at that point as fans? Were you a part of this Jay Lucas saga? Because I think I sort of came in toward the end of it. Like I wasn't like on the website every day, listening to the show every day, but I definitely was like keeping up with this news, but I wasn't like all in. I mean, I was in like middle school.
I was
but what about you all?
I was right on where you are, I believe, just kind of that because I think Matt brought it up after the fact when these rumors started coming out. He said something along the lines of Jay Lucas, a big reason why KSR is KSR right now is because of the Jay Lucas recruitment. So I guess it would make a lot of sense that a lot of us didn't really know about KSR leading into it. And then kind of as we were in the midst of it and, moving forward, that's a big reason why KSR became KSR. So I'm right in I'm right in that same boat with you. That I
just remember reading a Jay Lucas article in like my computer, like typing elective, and I was supposed to be like typing
the same thing. The same thing.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to ask, Zack, what about you?
That was kind of the same thing for me. I don't think I started getting into KSR until like I was in high school. I was probably like a sophomore, freshman in high school. So it was probably 2009 or 10 before I finally got into it. But once you said 2007, Jack, I was like, dang. I was like, there's no way any of us were on that site. But I do remember the Jay Lucas and Patrick Patterson debacle whenever it happened, or I barely remember it. So I'm sure I read a KSR post or two about it, but
there were over 300. So
yeah,
odds are solid. You
probably did
on one. And it actually, I
didn't really jump on the train.
It lingered on afterward because Jay Lucas started his career. So he turned down Kentucky the first time. UK got Patrick Patterson. Jay Lucas went to sign with Florida. And then a year later, he entered, well, at that time, I don't think the transfer portal existed, but he transferred to Texas, where he spent his final 2 years of eligibility. And from there, I believe, he spent some time in the NBA. And then from there, he joined the Texas Texas coaching staff, I believe when he was 23 years old. I mean, like one of the youngest I mean, he was practically a graduate assistant when he first joined, kind of hung in there. I mean, he was on the coaching staff, I think, 3 years as a special assistant to the head coach, and then another 4, I believe, as he started out under Rick Barnes, who's now at Tennessee, and then the last 4 years he's been under Shaka Smart at Texas. So the dude has been in the game since literally the minute he left the NBA. I mean, he didn't play in the NBA long, obviously, but he went straight from the league to back to where he played at college, was a special assistant, turned into one of the most, the best up-and-coming recruiter in the game. Seriously, I mean, he was instrumental in Texas signing Mohamed Bamba, instrumental in just this past year. I think he was the lead recruiter on Greg Brown III, and as you guys know, Kentucky was right in the thick of things with him and Mohamed Bamba back in the day. So, I mean, this is a kid. I mean, he's 31 years old, so it's hard calling him a kid, but I mean, he would be the youngest coaching guy on the Kentucky coaching staff by 7 years, Joel Justice being 38. So, I mean, this would be a complete shift of events for what Kentucky has been doing in the past about adding guys to their coaching staff. But I mean, it would be massive. I mean, talking to guys, behind the scenes down in Texas and people that really know high school basketball, AAU basketball. He's one of the most well-connected guys in just the recruiting world. The dude knows everybody. As part of it is because his dad, John Lucas, has been in the AAU circuit forever, high-profile trainer. He's been in the games, forever, actually close with Coach Cal. He used to coach the Cleveland Cavaliers, who drafted DeJuan Blair back in the day, who was Coach Cal's first one and done out of Memphis. So,
Wow.
It goes. It's a very, small world, really. I mean, when you think about it, but this is a high profile signing that'd be nothing is official right now. In fact, it wasn't supposed to come out today. Let's just put it out there right now. I was up. I got a call at about 10 o'clock last night. Said, "Hey, I think this is in the works. It's been in the works since last week. I don't know what you're supposed to put out right now. I don't know if you're even allowed to put anything out right now, but this is something you need to be monitoring pretty closely." So I sent them, 30 texts last night to whoever could respond to me about how things were going, what I needed to know, if I could confirm with anybody, what move would be made on the Kentucky side of things if that were to come to fruition, whatever the case was. Started getting some confirmation that this was very real early this morning, but still not like a guarantee, not something like sources tell me that this is in the works, like this is happening. Be prepared, be prepared for it. I was making fun of myself. Obviously not
really
something
good at it.
I could put out initially, and then it kind of seemed like we hit this point this afternoon where everybody started talking about it, and it was like, oh shit, how is this all unfolding as fast as it is? All right, I gotta scramble to put something up. So it was rough. Once we hit about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it was a rough afternoon in terms of like trying to get everything out there and putting out everything I know without like ruffling any feathers, because I was actually told right before we got on the show that Jay Lucas is not happy with how things have unfolded. He wanted it to be as of right now, he's still very likely to join the coaching staff, but he wanted it to be on his own terms. He wanted to, formally tell his team that he was leaving and that this was going to be a heartbreaking thing. I mean, he went to college there. This is a situation close to his heart. He went to college at Texas, but this is a career move that hard for him to pass up. So he wanted this to be on his own terms. It ended up not being on his own terms. And I think there's a little bit of frustration with that. I don't think it's going to change anything at the end of the day in terms of him actually signing on the dotted line and joining the staff. But as of right now, it looks like it's happening. And I think it's a huge deal for the Kentucky basketball program.
Shoot, deep breath. You made it through. Good job, Jack. We're proud of you. You did good work on the website today. I'm sorry you got a little scooped there. But we know you wanted to drop this scoop on the Macks on our show.
I was going to. I was so excited. I was like, I don't know if I was going to come out and say that there was like Jay Lucas's name, but I was at least going to come on and be like, hey, there's something that we might be talking about next week. just want to put this out there so you guys are aware of this, and
You'd be one of those. I hate that. I hate when people are like, something good's coming, get excited.
But
like,
I would have at least acknowledged that it was in addition to the coaching staff. I wouldn't have done something is happening and I'm not going to tell you what it is. Ha ha ha. I was at least going to do it's good news regarding the coaching staff, and we'll see how it goes. I'll let you guys know as soon as it is confirmed on
I'll
my
let
end.
you know after this commercial break.
Back to you.
Stay with us. Just kidding. If anyone wants to sponsor us, though, we could have a commercial break. That'd be fine. I'll read some ads.
This would be a perfect opportunity for me.
How crazy would it be? How crazy would it be, like, within this year, if Patrick Patterson wins an NBA title with the Clippers in the same year that Kentucky lands Jay Lucas after all of this time? Wouldn't that be such a crazy, like, full circle situation?
Circle of Life, KSR edition.
Yeah, good job. The words today, I think you're lying to
I'm worked up, man.
I told you it was his fifth.
I know.
I wish I were drunk. I wish I were drunk right now, but I'm not, unfortunately. We'll get there tonight, though.
All right. I wish you the best of luck. Let's hop into some bubble talk because it's been 2 days of official NBA playoffs. I know Zack has been it's been an out-of-body experience for you, Zack. So I just want you to get to talk about that a little bit. We've seen some great basketball so far. What has been your favorite part?
Ooh, my favorite part? I don't know if I have a favorite part so far. The games on day one especially were, for the most part, they were pretty enjoyable. I don't know if either of you all got to dive into them at all, but today was the big Kentucky day. We had a lot of Kentucky players. Eric Bledsoe continues to kind of do not very well in the playoffs. So that's going to be another continued talking point throughout the rest of this. And they lost to the Magic somehow. Because of course I picked the Bucks to sweep, so they would very obviously lose that first game. But the Magic in round one of the playoffs last year, or game one, guess who they beat?
Who?
The Toronto Raptors in game one of round one, who went on to win the title. So,
do you think this is a little foreshadowing, a little conspiracy theory?
I'm just saying that when the Bucks ultimately win the next 4 games in a row and then beat Jack's Jason Tatum's, it's going to be not very surprising to anybody.
Can we talk
particularly
about me for a second?
About who?
Gordon Hayward.
Sure.
Yeah, that sucks. He's
been so good.
Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are fun.
Yeah, not a good day for Jack.
We're getting 25 apiece from Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown every time.
Gordon Hayward's just dragging them down.
Gordon Hayward is 17, 6, and 6 every single night. He is Boston's best playmaker / ball handler / facilitator. That dude is the most underrated dude. I mean, one of the most underrated guys in the NBA, I think. I mean, and for us to lose him for 4 weeks, and shoot, I mean,
his wife long gone by then.
His wife, yeah, I know. Well, without him, I think we will. That's what's so depressing. And I think his wife.
You should sweep through these 76ers pretty easily.
Yeah, but we're not beating Toronto without Gordon Hayward. I really don't think we can. That'll be really, really depressing. But his wife, I'm hoping. Here's best case scenario. His wife pops into labor today. He leaves the bubble because she's very pregnant right now.
Let's not wish premature labor on someone so that the Celtics can win a few.
She is on the cusp of labor, so this would not be premature. This would be on time. This would be perfect. She has the baby. He leaves the bubble. He rehabs for 4 weeks, enjoys his baby time with his baby, multiple babies.
Enjoys his baby time with his babies. That's in-depth analysis.
Comes back healthy, leg looking amazing, ankle looking amazing. We're already, I think at that time we'll be coasting into the Eastern Conference Finals. He just pops in right at the perfect time. We I think we played the Milwaukee Bucks then. I think the playoff would work out that way. We beat the Milwaukee Bucks with Gordon Hayward healthy again. We coast to a championship against Anthony Davis and the Los Angeles Lakers. There you go.
So you're calling Celtics Lakers and then Celtics win?
No. That was just I said that was best case scenario. That's not
wishful thinking.
Well, you started with best case scenario is Gordon Hayward's wife has a baby. That was essentially the premise of your best case scenario.
Because it would allow for the worst case would be
Gordon
he
Hayward's
could tell.
wife having a baby now would result in the Celtics winning a championship 2 months from now.
That sounds like a 30 for 30.
Correlation does equal causation in that case. Stats nerd, let's go.
All right, let's talk about Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell because, again, UK won in a way. I mean, obviously Donovan Mitchell, killed it points-wise. But Jamal Murray's team won. Did you all catch that game?
I think the only talking point about that game is after the fact when Jamal Murray recorded Donovan Mitchell's live reaction of him sulking or talking to whoever he was, probably his mother or maybe Rick Pitino. I don't know who he conversates with, but
I don't think they talk.
I didn't actually realize I did when I was doing the post for this morning that Donovan Mitchell was on the Louisville team that played Jamal Murray. He was I didn't realize he was more of a bench player then, but he lost in that game too. And then Jamal Murray outdid him in this one as well. 36 points. He had pretty much all of them in the fourth quarter and overtime, which he seems to do a lot now.
Yeah. Yeah, he came up huge at the end of the game. That was an awesome game to watch. I didn't watch. That was the second game on Monday.
Yes,
yeah, second.
Yeah, I missed it. I was late to the party. I missed the first game, but I turned that one on in the second quarter and was like, let's go. Settle in. Basketball's back. And then it was a great game. So
we need to talk about what would happen if Jamal Murray does this after a game 7. Goes and records Donovan Mitchell's reaction. Yeah. That's the
way easier to do.
I want to see now. It's all funny and fun in games, after game 1 of round.
Hey, beat you, buddy.
But let's see if Jamal Murray is confident with it after game 7.
No, here's what would happen. The NBA bubble people would come in like the suitcase people on The Bachelor. Do you all know what I'm talking about?
Indirectly, kind of.
For those who don't know, I'll admit it. I watch The Bachelor. I'm not proud of it, but I do. And when you go on a date, you have to pack your suitcase before the date and leave it by the front door. So if you get sent home, you don't come back to the house and tell everyone goodbye. Your suitcase is waiting for you. Someone else, I guess some producer, swoops in, gets your belongings, puts you on an airplane, and you're home in a few hours. That's got to be what the NBA would do too. I mean, they're not going to let those guys sulk around inside the bubble. They're going to be like, well, you're not our responsibility now. You can go ride some rides at Disney if you want.
See ya.
Well, it's after a game 6. Let's say they go up 3-2 or something. That's when I want to see it. When they have to be forced to interact, because I know they're staying in the same hotel. Those two teams.
Yeah.
Which is even more.
But there can't even be that many options for food. I felt like that video we saw the other day, when that happened last night. I feel like they were out trying to look for food or what. It felt like they were out little cafeteria tables.
Day-to-day bubble life. From what I've seen though, the food looks a lot better than it did on day 1 from when we were seeing those.
Had to ease into it. You can't get gourmet meals from day 1 till day 300 or whatever it is.
Yeah, they
How
can.
many days take me down there?
300.
Not 300, 100.
Well, it could be.
You're in the bubble for a year.
See ya, you're in here forever. Okay. Hey, I was trying to have this point earlier. So Aaron Porter, you guys are both familiar.
Love me some Aaron Porter.
University of Kentucky fella. We love him to death. He texted me this afternoon, and he asks, "Who are you more surprised with in the NBA, Devin Booker or Jamal Murray? Given the roles, think of Devin Booker as, Devin Booker being with the Suns, who have been the epitome of awful for the entirety of his career, versus Jamal Murray, who has had the opportunity to kind of, be a star-ish on I think he's reaching stardom, I would say, on a contending team, number 3 seed in the West. But given their roles, who are you more surprised with, given after seeing their time at Kentucky? That was his question to me. I had my answer, and I thought it was a rather simple one, but I want to know what you guys think.
Booker.
That's a good question. I love AP. Thank you for the question. Am I going first? Zach, you want to go? I know who I'm saying.
It's Booker.
I would say Booker based on their roles at UK. I mean, I think without even pulling in their NBA teams necessarily, I mean, obviously, the role that they've played on their respective individual teams, has had some degree of impact. But for the most part, for me, how I look at it is what they did at UK, and Murray was really the guy at UK. that year, especially most nights, and Booker just wasn't. I mean, we saw flashes of what he could be, but I mean, I don't even know if there was a consensus among the fan base of UK fans that he should have even entered the NBA that year. Am I
Well,
wrong about that?
well, I think
I
a
mean,
lot of it
I
had to
feel
do
like
with
he wasn't even on the A platoon. I mean, he was sort of like a. I
He
mean,
was
he
on
came
the
off the
and
bench,
that was the reason why that he didn't have the same role as Booker or as Murray, because it was
right?
Murray and Ulis versus the world as opposed to the Booker team, which was where in reality Booker was the third or fourth best player on that team
Yeah.
when the first best player is Cat and like on down on the list. So it's that in that aspect, I don't even know what we were saying eventually, but you continue, Maggie, and I'll jump in with my point here in a second.
No, that's all I was saying. I would just say that the more not really surprising, because I always knew that Booker would do well in the NBA. He's so shooting driven, and I even at the time, like, I wasn't super happy to see him go to the Suns because they have been such like a terrible organization recently. But it is a place where you can sort of grow, do your own thing. We knew pretty early on that he was going to be the guy there. He was going to have the opportunity that he didn't have at UK, and that's to come in, shoot, run, sort of run the offense. And so to me, that's where the difference is. I don't know if that's the point you were working towards, Zach, or not.
Also,
But that's
so
what I would say.
what was the actual question again, Jack? How did he phrase it?
I'm pulling it up right now, so I have my official answer, so you guys know I'm not cheating. His question is, who surprises you more in the NBA, Murray or Booker? Just flat out. And then he gave his response to mine as well. So, Zach, you give yours. I'll tell you what I responded to him, and then what Aaron responded. And Aaron had a fantastic point too. We'll have to tag him and make sure that he gets to see this.
Well, so if we're using the word surprise, obviously Booker overplayed his value because he went from, what was he, 13 or 14, and
Yeah.
now an all-star, and has taken a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 10 years to a team that now looks like they have a future and will probably contend for a playoff spot. Booker is clearly a franchise player. They've paid him the franchise money. He's going to be an all-star for the next however many years. Jamal Murray, on the other hand, you could say has surprised in the fact that he's almost underplayed his value, where Jamal Murray was, what, the sixth pick? Is that
pick?
Yeah, something like that. And he's been in the league, only a few less years than Booker, so you can give him a little leeway there. But Murray hasn't blossomed into the type of player that, like, Booker or Murray should have been what Booker is right now, and Booker could kind of be in that Murray role. They should be really reversed in how much productivity they kind of bring to the table right now in terms of where they were drafted. But Murray he's just on the like here is Jamal Murray, and here is being an all-star, like a future,
right there,
an every year all-star.
And I think right now, given what he, given the spotlight of the playoffs right now, with no other sports going on, like what he did yesterday is kind of his, welcoming into the NBA playoffs. I think that could be the boost that I think, like, Jason Tatum, his year one, how he, was part of that makeshift, island of misfit toys that the Boston Celtics had when they made it to the East Conference finals against your LeBron James, that horrible Game 7 loss, and where, yeah, that was depressing.
Move on.
But the way that Tatum that was his, oh, wow, maybe this is what he could be. I think that's exactly what we're seeing out of Jamal Murray right now.
What did Aaron Porter say?
Okay, so my response back was, oh, Booker, 100%. I knew Murray was going to be a star. Did you guys know that Jamal Murray made a three-pointer in every single game that he wore a Kentucky Wildcat uniform?
I think I did, because he holds the record for most threes by a freshman, right?
Every single game that he wore a Kentucky uniform, he made at least 1 3. I think as many as like 6 or 7. I mean, the dude, easily one of the most reliable and just clutch three-point shooters we've seen in Kentucky basketball history. Deron Lamb is the winner right now. I mean, he's almost shot 50% from 3. That's just stupid. But Jamal Murray, in terms of, okay, I need a dude that's going to just come in and make 3 threes for me tonight. That's what he brought to the table. So I said, dude made a 3 in every single game he played at Kentucky. That shooting just translates. Plus Plus, he played more on ball, knew he could play that point guard / shooting guard hybrid in the league. Booker, I thought, would just be a spot-up shooter, Kyle Korver type, which that answers my question. That's why Booker would be easily the bigger surprise to me.
Booker's and five tool offensive player.
Yeah. He said both these guys are out of the world. I'll probably go with Book as well, just because he allowed his game to take a back seat at Kentucky for the sake of the team. Still went lottery, but could have even been higher if he got to have the freedom that he has today. But Murray, man, I knew he was good, but he's almost a guy that you could call the best player on a championship team. That I can say I fully didn't see. That was kind of my big point was, do you value the fact that Murray right now is looking the part of a dude that could lead a team to – I wouldn't go as far as saying that he'd be the lead option on a championship team right this second, but we're starting to see those spurts that where you're like, man, he might be able to get there in 3
Do you not think that Booker – you don't see Booker the same way? I mean, after he led his team to an 8-0 run in the bubble, I mean, he clearly was the one leading that team.
And I absolutely, and I think hindsight's 2020, knowing that Jamal Murray is actually in this position right now, and with Devin Booker, how would Devin Booker react to having 2 more All-Stars on his team or another All-Star on his team? At least Jamal Murray has Nikola Jokic and other solid pieces around it. The Phoenix Suns are really just Devin Booker and a couple. I mean, it's a couple other really solid pieces, but it's Devin
Booker.
It's Devin Booker's team. So yes, I mean, he could be the number 1 option, but we don't even know about them being a contender right now. We know that the Nuggets are a contending team year in and year out, at least for the foreseeable future. And we know, as we're seeing right now, that Jamal Murray could potentially be that guy, especially given what we're seeing so far. So I thought it was a fantastic question.
So
hats off to AP.
Yeah, and I think Booker can absolutely be a guy that can be your number 1 option, and you can win a championship on just because of all the things he can do on offense. Murray, I'm not entirely sure.
Look at your background.
Exactly. I mean, look at this. Like, he made the shot over this guy.
Clutch.
But Jamal Murray, I don't think – I will respectfully disagree with you all saying I don't think Murray can be a guy that can lead a team to a title. Solely because I don't think 6'3" point guards can lead teams to titles. They just have to be bigger, they have to be stronger, they have to be wing players. Like your best player on a championship NBA team is never going to be a 6'3" point guard. I don't think that's ever happened if it has, someone can prove me wrong, but I would argue that it never has. So like guys like Luka Doncic, that's going to be a guy that can win a title by himself. And that's why they have Nikola Jokic on the Nuggets, because Jokic can be the best player on your team and you can win a title because Nikola Jokic is going to make every single person around him better, whereas Jamal Murray doesn't necessarily do that yet. And for Jamal Murray to do that, he's going to have to turn into someone like Damian Lillard. And we've even seen that even when Damian Lillard is as good as he is, if Damian Lillard is the best player on your team, we see what their cap is, and it's about the conference finals if you're lucky. So that's why I wouldn't put any pressure on Murray. And I've learned my lesson by trying to say that a guy like John Wall's probably your closest guy that could be like a point guard that could potentially win you a title, and even he's not nearly good enough to do that stuff. So
who would you say was the best player on that 04 Detroit Pistons team? Just out of curiosity.
The best player?
Wouldn't you say
it was Chauncey Billups? I mean,
Chauncey Billups, a 6'3" point guard.
Yeah.
That was,
okay, but you're picking the one anomaly of the. Okay, what about the rest of the 19 teams over the last years?
That was just me.
It'd be Tim Duncan, Kobe, LeBron.
I totally agree with your point.
Yeah.
That was actually
if the Nuggets can form a team like that where they have 5 borderline all-stars, then sure, go ahead. But I'll be honest with you, Jamal Murray is not as good as Chauncey Billups. He hasn't been, and honestly, Jamal Murray probably won't ever be better than Chauncey Billups.
I would also say that I think Booker sort of has the benefit of being a more of a fan favorite among Kentucky fans. I mean, I know that's not really exactly the route we were going with this conversation, but I think in general, Kentucky fans adore Devin Booker, and I'm not sure they feel that way about Murray. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it, What I would say is that Murray didn't get the opportunities that some of these guys recently have had in terms of being on a team that got a lot of exposure of their personalities. They didn't get to know the fan base. I feel like when Murray was here, I mean, I don't think the fan base got to know him. I really don't. I think Booker,
He didn't have social media or
we
anything,
knew
did he really?
everyone on that 2015-16 team. I mean, I feel like we just knew everything about them. We saw their personalities. They had a gimmick of the platoons. I just don't think Murray had that benefit. And even though that doesn't really go into whether or not that he can lead an NBA team, I do think from a Kentucky fan's perspective, they're going to be more likely to wish that on to Devin Booker, probably more than Jamal Murray.
Yeah, I think
I'll say this about Devin. Sorry, Jack, to interrupt you, but I just had something that I kind of thought that I want to. It's almost a hot take, if you want to say, but not really a hot take. It'll just be my take of the day, we'll say.
Okay.
But if I had to pick, this answer used to be Anthony Davis, but we're about to pass the point where that's not going to happen. Calipari's first NBA MVP is going to be Devin Booker.
Ooh.
that's possible.
I used to think it was going to be Anthony Davis, but the time about that is probably about to pass, where that might, unless he wins it maybe in the next year, it probably might not happen.
I don't know if I'm ready to say that. I'm not sure if I'm ready to take that away from Anthony Davis yet.
Yeah,
I wouldn't either, but I think at the rate we're going right now, the MVPs are going to start going away from the dudes that are in their late 20s, and they're going to start going to keep staying with guys like Giannis and Luka Doncic. If I had to bet right now, Luka Doncic will win MVP next year, and it's just going to be a continuation of guys like that. So I think Booker's in line to potentially do that. He's got to get the help around him, though, so it really just depends on how good the
They have to be
is.
at least some sort. They don't
He's
have
got to have another superstar. He needs to have like a Chris Middleton next to him, or someone who can play
That'd be
defense.
good. That'd be a fun duo.
He really needs a guy that can play defense, or even get him a bit. If DeAndre Ayton can actually play like a number one pick, that would be huge as well. So
that would be nice.
Getting Chris Middleton the hell away from the Bucks, so I don't ever have to see him ever again in the East go against the Celtics, because he drops 50 every time he goes up against the Celtics.
He was trash today, so
I will be. Oh, yeah, wait till the Eastern Conference
against the Magic.
If we make it that far, he's going to average 50 a game against us. So.
Yeah.
Good luck. And by the way, I was trying to cut both of you all off to try to come up with a Jamal Murray social media joke that, about his late night social media habits, but I couldn't.
We're not going there.
It just didn't fit into the schedule of events. So we'll just.
This podcast is strictly PG-13, and that feels a little our territory.
That was not PG-13.
That was
I'm not into that. I'm not into that. Okay, we've been talking for a long time. I don't want us to go too long, and I know we want to get in some football schedule stuff. Do you feel like we've covered the bubble? We good to move on?
Yep.
Sweet. I have the schedule right here in front of me. I can run through it real quick, and then we can dive in on just a few little things we're the most excited to see, something we're nervous about, general takeaways, etc. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. I don't have this memorized yet, but I have it in front of me. Don't
Quickly.
So, what?
Quickly.
Snappy. Okay, we'll be snappy. Week 1 at Auburn. Week 2 at home versus Ole Miss. Week 3 versus Mississippi State. Week 4 at Tennessee. Week 5 versus Georgia. Week 6 at Missouri. Week 7 is a bye week. Week 8 is versus Vanderbilt. Week 9 is at Alabama. Week 10 is at Florida. And Week 11 is versus South Carolina. Right away, I'm pretty happy about starting the season with Auburn. I'm pretty happy with where I don't love where our bye week fell, but it could have been worse. I'm pretty happy playing those two Mississippi teams at the beginning. I'm pretty happy with where Alabama fell. I like this schedule. What do you all think?
Go for it, Zach. I want to hear your take.
I'm looking at it right now, and I know our over-under was set at 4.5, and that seems dangerous.
Bango. Hit that.
That is dangerous.
Life savings on it.
I think 5 would be. People keep saying that 5-5 is a good year for us, which I agree. 5-5 would be awesome, but can we win 5 games?
Nah, 5-5 ain't good enough. We're better than that. Even given.
I mean, who are the 5 wins?
Going down the list.
I don't think it's Georgia, Bama, Florida,
Mississippi State. We're beating Tennessee this year. Sorry, it's happening. Missouri, Vandy, South Carolina are your 6, and then you can get. I mean, I think
they can snag an Auburn, Bama, or a Florida or a Georgia.
They will snag one of those games.
I
don't know which one it is, but they will snag one of those games.
that would
Yeah.
be the
Even two.
program.
There's
That would be
four.
the
There's
Stoops
four
defining win. That would be the defining Stoops win if he can snag one of those.
I mean,
This is the year to do it. And honestly, having Auburn first, I said I was happy with that. I mean, one, there's probably going to be no fans there or very limited fans, so that
Or games at all.
right. Huh.
ooh, I'm Zach. I'm Mr. Pessimistic. We're playing football, Zach. Get over it.
Zach, don't bring the mood down, okay? We're being
Y'all
optimistic
y'all
Max
be
today.
throwing the football in your backyard by yourselves.
We're going to be optimistic today. We don't need
Right.
your activity in my life.
Today's an optimistic podcast day, okay? And
Yeah,
Auburn
okay,
first,
in peace.
what are they going to watch? What footage of Terry Wilson do they have 2 years ago with a totally different offense, a totally different defense? There's no way. There's no way. Were they going to watch Lynn Bowden running around last season? Is that going to help them?
That's true. Or good old Joey Gatewood, if he ever gets eligible with the NCAA, that would be fantastic.
Joey Gatewood's never going to be eligible. Joke's on you.
I stay up late at night just thinking about the opportunities of Terry Wilson getting the first 7 yards and then having a third. Could you imagine having a 3rd and 3 with a 6'6", 260-pound quarterback like Joey Gatewood, just saying, "Oh, it's 3rd and 3, just run it, just run straight up the middle, Joey, you got this." Like,
against Auburn, that would be amazing.
he would be the equivalent of Benny Snell as a quarterback, just in terms of just pure size, and you know exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be running it right up the middle, and we're going to convert every single time. I'm just dreaming of that scenario. It has to happen. He's not going to start over Terry Wilson, but if that opportunity comes where he's able to kind of be that makeshift short down territory, goal line quarterback, that just sounds just heaven.
At this point, there's 0% of me that is expecting to see him at all this season. With the way the NCAA is moving, I just don't trust them to get that done in time. I'm worried we're ranging on that same sort of territory with Olivier Sarr. I mean, I don't understand.
We're still 4 months away from a season with that. I'm straight with that. I think
we'll see.
But
anyway, we've got Kiffin. We've got some Lane Kiffin action in week 2 and some Mike Leach action in game 3.
Fun.
That's pretty fun. Tennessee. I'm not picking us against Tennessee.
We're beating them.
Sorry. Doing that again.
Done deal. We're beating them. I'm tired of it. We're past that. We're past those narratives. We're good.
We don't know about that. Week 5 against Georgia. Coming off a Tennessee game for us. Okay. But Georgia, we're sandwiched between Alabama and Florida. That's good news for Kentucky. I'm happy with that. Then after that, we've got Missouri. I think, I don't know a lot about what Missouri looks like this season, but I feel pretty good about Kentucky's chances in that game.
Trash.
I mean, they should have 4 automatic wins on here.
We're beating Vandy by 100. So
yeah, coming off a bye week, that's good news.
Those 4 games.
Yeah,
and
bye week, Vandy.
It's basically 2 bye weeks going into the Alabama game.
Right, and that's 2 bye games for Kentucky, not to jinx anything. But for Alabama, it's LSU, then Kentucky, then Auburn. So that's good news.
Then Arkansas. Don't forget about Arkansas.
Yeah.
Hot take. Kentucky will beat one of Georgia or Alabama this year. Write it down.
I'm honestly on that train because of the way the schedule's lined up. Because, for Georgia, it's going Alabama, Kentucky, Florida. And for Alabama, it's going LSU, Kentucky, Auburn. This is the perfect year for Kentucky to continue to be the underdog. I hope that the media keeps undervaluing Kentucky's chances, and I hope the same teams are doing that as well. I hope that Georgia completely overlooks Kentucky. I hope Alabama completely overlooks Kentucky. The only one that's sort of like, I don't know exactly how the schedule will work out is the Florida game. By the end of the year, who knows what could change in terms of coronavirus, injuries, etc.
I'm penciling that as a loss. I am.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel good about ending on South Carolina. Last year was horrific. I was at that game in Columbia, and it was so depressing. So I'm ready to get back on the right foot and be the Gamecocks again this year.
So we were running 7 by my.
I'm going 6-4. I don't know what you're going. I'm going 6-4.
For this argument, we're going to say we lose day 1, Auburn. We're going to start with 1 loss. We're going to beat Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Tennessee, one of Georgia.
No, I'm not picking. Don't include me.
This is me, myself, and I.
Okay.
So Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Missouri, Vandy, South Carolina, and one of Georgia, Alabama. 7-3, mark it down.
Wow. Well,
Done deal. Done deal.
Zach is never as optimistic as you and I are. So
We're
Zach,
gonna go 2-8.
you know what? I bet we go 9-1.
There you go. Oh my God.
say it with
But-
your chest.
But
say it
our
with your
only
chest, 'cause I don't
only
believe
loss is to Vandy.
you. Shut up.
Hey, and since you all won't, I'm doing this because you all let me be pessimistic, and since there's not going to be a season anyways, I might as well get my hot takes off, right?
Get him off now.
9-1, we're going to lose to Vandy by 45.
You're ridiculous. All right, let's move on. Does anyone want to do pits and peaks before we wrap this fun thing up?
We were just getting rolling. Why are we ending it so soon?
So soon. We've been talking
Ending.
for
We've been doing this for
45
almost an
minutes.
hour.
This is amazing. This is like the best time I've ever had on this show.
That's because you're drunk, Jack.
Yeah.
I didn't finish the whole drink.
I'm just kidding. You're fine. I'm just trying to rush this honestly because I have some fire food on the way, and I'm getting
Okay, go
excited
away.
to eat some Carsons.
Is it
Yeah.
is it Allison? Did I say Allison?
I'm sorry. What?
Katie.
What do you think my name is?
No, I was trying to say Eleanor, your sister.
Yes, my little sister will be a freshman at center this year. I'm really excited for her. Hopefully things go well. She gets to move into the dorms this weekend. She's playing volleyball there. Her volleyball season has already been canceled, which has been really hard on the Davis girls in our household. I feel so bad for her about that. So I just hope that she gets a semi-normal and hopefully a full semester ahead of her at center. She leaves this weekend. I'm going to be here without her, which is really sad. So tonight we are celebrating / grieving with a good dinner of takeout Carson's, supporting the local Lexington economy with some amazing food. I'm really excited. That's really the real reason why I'm trying to hurry you along. It's not because of your all's terrible takes, even though that was a terrible take by Zach.
I thought it was a great take. I'll take 9-1 and lose by 45 to Vandy all day. I thought it was
If we have to lose by 45 to Vandy to go 9-1, I would take that deal.
That means wins over Alabama, Tennessee, Florida,
Georgia.
They wouldn't put us in the playoff.
I'd lose to 100 by Vandy if we could take that opportunity. That sounds amazing. That sounds heavenly.
Okay.
We haven't even talked about UK starting back yesterday.
Yeah, I don't even want to get into that because it makes me so antsy.
They've already been screwing it up big time.
Yeah, that's where pessimistic Zach will come in and
Ruin everyone's day. You thought you could escape.
I will have my pessimistic take before the show is over.
He just wants to rain on our parades. It's okay.
Someone's got to do it.
Okay, I do want to know what you guys think about the debate on, okay, we're going to go to virtual learning but still move forward with sports. What do you all think about that?
It's just hypocrisy. There's not another word that I can use to describe.
That is only okay if you let the players profit off of their name, image, and likeness. It is, first of all, I've been saying this for years. It's ridiculous that they're not already doing that. But at this point, if it's not safe for an average student to be on campus, then it is not okay to make these student athletes stay on campus. Absolutely not. I want to see football more than anyone. My literal career depends on it. But I'm not willing to risk these students when other students are being told it's not safe for them to stay. Obviously, just from a numbers perspective, it is very different because, I mean, the general student population of 20,000 people can't have the same precautions as a football team of 95 or so.
Yeah.
They can't be tested as frequently. They can't be quarantined as much. There just can't be as many precautions when you're dealing with an entire student body that you really don't have any control over in terms of what they're doing, going to the bars, gathering in big groups, going to a CSF pancake dinner at midnight, like what happened on UK's campus the other night. Don't get me started on that.
200 people there. There were like 300 people there.
That video.
Are you
Again,
kidding?
I can't even go there. But you can do that with a football team. I understand you can do, or any sports team. I mean, let's be real. If you're making the football team stay, and they want to stay, I understand. There's plenty of players who want to stay. Don't send the volleyball team home. Don't send these other fall sports home. If you're making accommodations for you to make money off of the football team and you're willing to make it, a safe environment for these 100 people, then you should be able to make it safe for the 10 people on every other fall sports team. I mean, obviously it's hypocrisy, like big enough if it's just the difference between students and student athletes. But if you're only leaving the football team on campus, the only fall sport that's revenue generating, and you're sending home even the other student athletes and canceling their seasons, I'm fired up. I'm fired up.
I mean, at the end of the day,
I'm not okay with that.
they're just confirming what everyone has already kind of known, and that it's all, it all just comes down to that green.
No money.
Well,
I know, and we've known that, but
that's the thing.
Now they're being loud about it. Now they're being really loud about it, and so it's a little
That's
bit
the thing.
now.
Okay.
That's why all these kids have these arguments for the NIL rights.
I completely understand if there is a push on all of the athletic departments across America to have college football season and college basketball season, because that is how we fund the rest of the sports. It makes total sense why there is a money push for them. It makes absolute complete sense. I get it. But if you're going to have that argument of, hey, we're going to really do whatever it takes to fund these sports because we know that if we have football, we can fund the rest of the sports. That part I wholeheartedly agree with. But if you're going to do that, then you have to understand that, okay, you are putting these students in danger. The absolute, best thing that you could do for them, I guess, is to allow them an opportunity to make money off their own name and likeness. By saying, okay, we understand that there's some risks involved. If you don't want to play, we totally get it. But the least we could possibly do in this case is say, hey, we know this is a really shitty situation for everybody involved. Let's just make sure that if you want to do this, you have the opportunity to make as much money as you want to with your name, image, and likeness. Sell T-shirts. Go work at go have a meet and greet at a car lot. However, whatever you want to do to make money, by all means, do it. If that's what it takes to make these kids happy and make it feel like it's worth their while to sacrifice their long-term health. I mean, that's it.
Did you all see that in Ohio it looks like they're going to be allowing high school football and obviously not Ohio State football?
Yeah,
that will not go well in Buckeye Nation.
That won't happen. The Ohio State people up top they'll find a way to shut that down. If they're not playing football, the high school kids aren't going to play football.
The governor said they are.
Ohio State University will make sure that does not happen.
Did you see all the Big Ten parents that are coming out and pushing for the Big Ten to reverse their decisions?
Yeah,
there were some rumblings that that this is going to cause the Big Ten to at least reconsider. Not that it's going to actually move the needle in terms of
they're going to say, oh yeah, we'll take your thoughts into consideration, folks. We adore your paychecks that you send us every week. But in reality,
that is the most frustrating thing about all of this is that they waited for every school in America waited for these kids to get on campus, saw all this stuff unfold. Hey, did that tuition check cash yet? Okay, cool. Yeah, we're going to have everybody leave campus. We're going to go to virtual learning. Let's make sure that everybody gets off. I think this is a great situation. What do you think? I think that is just the most frustrating part of all this is that
you want a little bit of extra info? Guess when UK's tuition is due?
The 22nd, I think I saw.
Yes, this
right?
Saturday. What's starting on Monday?
They're absolutely sending people away next week. There's no way.
I hope they don't. I genuinely hope they don't. But I will be upset if they do on Monday after they've collected all their tuition. I mean, I saw a Snapchat. Yeah, I've seen examples of classes where the students are meeting in person in a large auditorium and the professor is zooming in so that the university can call that an in-person class.
That's not out of here.
If it's not safe for your professor to come in, one professor to come, why is it safe for you to gather 40 people in the auditorium?
Because the professor doesn't pay them.
Sheesh.
Anyway, that feels like a good place to wrap it up, but let's end on a positive note. Anyone want to pit and peek it? Or just peek it, I guess?
We'll peek it.
Yeah.
Zack, go first.
I mean, Jack, we've already gotten your pit. That was the whole beginning of the show.
But to be fair, that is also a peak because I know long term This hiring of Jay Lucas, I promise you, will be a net
Supposed.
massive
Reported.
Allegedly
reported if
potential.
all these reports coming out didn't ruin the opportunity for this to happen. Long term, if this happens, this is a long-term, massive, massive net win for Kentucky basketball recruiting. I promise you guys, this is exactly what Kentucky needed. I mean, flat out, the reason why everybody was so disappointed in Bruiser Flint and his hiring is because he's, not that there's anything wrong with him as a coach, is that he's a 55-year-old dude that the staff was only getting older or, not changing age at all. I mean, right now, the reason the Tennessees of the world, they just picked up Kenny Chandler, number 1 point guard in the class of 2021. The reason why schools are getting, the outside schools that, why is Tennessee picking up schools like that? It's picking up high-profile recruits like that. It's because they are getting the Kim Englishes of the world, who is, young, relatable, swaggy type assistant coach. It's because those type of guys are flooding college basketball right now. In UK, they have one in Joel Justice, but they needed another one. I mean, it needs to be two guys hitting the recruiting trail back to back and going after it. And that is exactly what K. Lucas would bring to the table. So that is easily as rough as these last 24 hours have been. I think long term, it's definitely a massive peak in my heart.
Big peak.
Big peak. Big time peak.
Very nice. Very nice. Zack Attack, you got anything?
Nah.
Go
Wow.
figure. Zach has nothing positive to say.
Nothing
Your turn,
positive. What?
Your turn.
No,
Are you seriously
I'm
skipping your turn?
not happening. Come up with something positive.
No, we're skipping him. If he wants to be like that, be like that. But when you're sad, just kidding. If you're sad, you can always talk to us, Zach. We're here for you, buddy. Just let us know.
You know what? This might be the time. This might be a proper way to have a conversation about this.
Next week, no, we're doing this next week because I've already come up with it. It was too late to get together today. We're doing some mental health checks next week. Just get ready.
All right.
Get ready. But this week, we'll give Zach a pass. It's all right, buddy. I hope you enjoy the rest of the NBA games tonight.
I will.
That will be his peak that he has more NBA to look forward to.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. Hey, we got a peak out of him. He said it.
We did. Awesome. I would say my peak is just a week of amazing food that my sister is picking out. She did a great job. I'm proud of her for all the decisions she's made. Tonight, it's Carson's. That's going to be the peak of the day, at least. Maybe the week. I'm pretty into their food. So I'm going to log off now and go enjoy. Bye, guys.